With the release of Legend of Korra being added to Netflix after the success of Avatar The Last Airbender, let's talk about Book 1, Air. Now I have mixed feelings about Book 1. I think there are aspects that were good, and some ideas that could have been done better. The Legend of Korra is a sequel to the beloved Avatar franchise. It is set 70 years after the end of the Hundred Year War. Aang is dead, and the new Avatar is Korra, and she has a decent control of water, earth, and fire at the age of 4. The issue I have with it is that Korra gets thrown the Mary Sue card, and the best way to have avoided that is to cut this and go straight to Korra being told she's the Avatar at either ages 12, like Aang, or at 16 like the other avatars. She's like 17 throughout book 1, so it shouldn't be a far stretch of her having control of 3 out of the 4 elements, just to be different from Aang. Having a 4-year-old Korra seems like an interesting story on its own. Like, her parents are waterbenders. What is it like for a parent to have a child that can firebend? Korra did all of her training in her home, the Southern Water Tribe, with members of the White Lotus coming to her to train her. So the whole travel the world thing that Aang and Roku did was just not cool enough for Korra, I guess. Tenzin and his family arrive on a sky bison, and no, apparently Appa's not the last living bison. Aang just found them hiding in all of the air temples. The same air temples that Team Avatar have been throughout the duration of the show. Jinora is about to ask Grand Katara about Zuko's mom until Ikki says, "Fuck you, read the book." So Tenzin comes all the way out to the Southern Water Tribe with his whole family, including his pregnant wife, just to tell Korra that he can't train her right now. I guess messenger hawks aren't a thing anymore, or a radio that is shown later. But with Korra being a loud, brash, punch first, talk later avatar with zero patience, she goes to Republic City anyways with Naga. Let's get this out of the way. The artwork and the music for all 4 seasons are just amazing. Republic City looks like a 1920s New York, but the main conflict regarding to Book 1 is largely affected by Republic City at the same time, and I'll get to that more when I talk about Amon. Korra starts her airbending training with Tenzin, and she is just awful.
Were you rushing or were you dragging?
She can't even sit for 1 minute in meditation. And after just 3 days, she blames Tenzin for being a horrible teacher when he taught Milo, and he's 5. We were introduced to Bolin, Mako, and pro bending as a sport in the Avatar world, and I gotta say, Mako never really did it for me in any of the 4 seasons. He's just a brooding pretty boy, a static character, and not a staircase down from Zuko. And knowing he's named after the late great voice actor of the Uncle Iroh just doesn't help at all. Pro bending seemed to be like an interesting sport in the Avatar universe, but it got boring for me after the first time I saw it. And it takes up almost half of the season, along with another plotline that sucks even more. The love triangles, plural. I'll come back to that when we get to Asami. Korra joins the Fire Ferrets and tells Tenzin that airbending is stupid and pointless.
You serious?
She implements her airbending training into pro bending, and Tenzin apologizes to her? Don't get me wrong, Tenzin is my favorite character in the show. He actually feels like a character that carries the burden of continuing the Air Nation, and is the son of Aang. And he's voiced by the legendary J.K. Simmons. But there's no reason to apologize to Korra because she shat on the original teachings of the Air Nation. It turns out Bolin and Mako are just pro bending for free, and they have to get extra jobs. Bolin gets tied up with the triple threat triad, and Mako and Korra have to go and save him. Mako's all about stealth, but impatient Korra kicks down the door, and we get a fight between them and the Chi Blockers. It's a cool fight, and it's nice to see a part of Ty Lee come back. Korra and Mako discover Amon's plans to rid the world of benders through the use of energy bending, because non-benders have been oppressed by benders for a long time, and there's the problem. The problem lies with Republic City as a whole. We are introduced to a huge shift in technological advancements, which would be largely beneficial to non-benders. Also, the only oppression was shown about non-benders was the triple threat triad being stopped by Korra. That's it. The problem also stems from the fact that Mako and Bolin are just pro-bending for free, and they have to get another job just for necessities. 2 benders that are being screwed over by non-benders. Amon's goals and motivations would have made more sense if he was in Ba Sing Se. There's a better argument on how benders are oppressive to non-benders where there's a divide by class systems and is under the scrutiny of the Dai Li. You can even bring up the fact that they were created by Avatar Kyoshi so that Korra can be accused of the crimes as well. As for Amon himself, he has a badass hood with a badass mask and a badass voice by Stephen Blum, who also did the voices of Vilgax, Green Goblin, and Wolverine. Korra and Mako save Bolin, and Korra is afraid that Amon will take her bending away. Mako gets hit by Asami's moped and they start dating. Also, Asami gets her dad, automobile maker Hiroshi, to sponsor the fire ferrets. How convenient. Tarlok goes to Tenzin's house and asks Korra to join the fight against the Revelation, but she actually does something mature. She declines the offer. Lin tells Korra the real that Korra doesn't deserve this party because she did nothing useful. Lin is my second favorite character in the show because of that line, and the fact that she's the daughter of Toph, with her own interesting story that gets more explored in Book 3. Korra gets peer pressured into joining Tarlok, and after some fights with some normies, she gets cocky and calls out Amon for a one-on-one match. I'm starting to lose brain cells. It turns out Amon has a brain and scares the shit out of Korra. Episode 5 is the big love triangle episode that I alluded to earlier. There's the Korra Mako Bolin triangle and the Korra Mako Asami triangle. Korra breaks Bolin's heart just before the championship by kissing Mako after one date. Amon says he'll be attacking the Pro Bending Championship, and Tenzin and the Council try to shut it down to prevent people from being in danger, but everybody has a problem with that, even Lin. And yeah, the stupidity of everyone moves the plot along, as the Metalbender police force gets shocked, and Amon takes the Wolfbat's bending away for cheating. Korra and the others are sent to Asami's house, and she hears Hiroshi is one of the bad guys, and of course no one believes her because love triangle. But a helpful Randy confirms the suspicions convenient, and they find robots. Robots in the Avatar universe.
そうか。
Bolin announces that him, Mako, Korra, and Asami are the new Team Avatar. I'll come back to that. Not Team Avatar takes down the Chi Blockers, and Tarlok makes a law where non-benders have a curfew. He arrests Mako and Bolin for what? They're benders. Instead of letting Tenzin go to Tarlok with a diplomatic solution to the problem, Korra just goes straight to Tarlok. I just can't deal with the lack of patience from a protagonist. The fight scene is really good here, but Tarlok can just bloodbend without the full moon.
What?
Yeah, I know. And Tarlok kidnaps Korra. I guess she can't use firebending to get out of those ropes, I suppose. Lin breaks out the rest of not Team Avatar. Asami gets jealous about how Mako's concerned about Korra at the worst possible time. Sure, I agree with you, Asami, that Mako's being out of character, but the fact that their friend is missing doesn't slip your mind. It also doesn't help that Bolin blurts out that Mako and Korra kissed. How is it that in Avatar, the relationships between 12 to 16-year-olds are handled better and more maturely than the ones who are 17 to 20 years old? Korra starts to meditate for the first time, and she is shown a vision by Aang about the first bloodbender who could do it without the full moon, Yakone. It's great to see the adult versions of Toph, Aang, and Sokka, especially Sokka because he's a councilman, and it's the only appearance of him in the show.
Boo!
However, they compare anytime bloodbending to Toph's metal bending, that it just happens. Toph learning how to metal bend was through her seismic ability to find earth fragments within metal so that she could bend that. But bloodbending was only known to have an effect on waterbenders during the full moon because the full moon is what gives maximum power to the waterbender. But Yakone can just do it to a whole courtroom with only his mind, which Hama was able to show that bending the will of a person takes effect with the motions of water just like anything else. Katara was able to get out of the grip through the use of waterbending her own body, but I guess we can't go down to the south and talk to her about it. Tarlok is exposed by his servants, and he bloodbends the courtroom, still dumb. Aang then uses energy bending to remove Yakone's abilities. Amon finds Tarlok's secret hiding place, and while Tarlok tries to bloodbend him, Amon is free of his grip, which means he's a waterbender and a hypocrite. Amon then takes Tarlok's bending away, and Korra escapes. I like how Amon is treated like a horror movie villain, with the ominous music, the bloodbending, and the energy bending. Asami and Mako talk about Korra, and she breaks up with him.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
Tenzin almost gets captured and has a fight scene. Pretty cool. Lin helps to defend Tenzin's family while Pema gives birth, and Milo can fart bend. Lin sacrifices herself to let Tenzin and his family get away, which gets her bending taken away. We hear Dante Bosco's voice again, only it's a different face and not Zuko, but General Iroh II. Iroh's ships get attacked by the Equalist. Iroh seems like a really cool dude, cooler than Mako. It sucks he only got a few appearances. Not Team Avatar splits up again for the final battles. In Avatar, the gang after just 3 episodes together felt like a family. They got to do everything together, and even though they split up near the end of Book 2, they knew that they will see each other again. In Korra, it's almost an event when the four of them are together, with one of the hindrance being the awkward love triangles. Korra and Mako talks to Tarlok, who gives them a last-minute origin story on him and his brother, Amon.
What?
I know, right? Big shocker. It turns out they were the sons of the criminal Yakone, who would train them in waterbending and eventually teach them bloodbending. Still without the full moon. Still doesn't make sense. When Yakone tells the brothers to bloodbend each other, pause, Noatak, aka Amon, bloodbends Yakone and then runs away. Korra and Mako goes to Amon's rally and tries to expose him, which, why? They're Amon's followers. Why would they listen to the Avatar when she didn't even bring any proof? Amon opens the mask and reveals his face to his followers. We'll come back to that. But it turns out that Tenzin and his family was captured, even though they escaped 2 episodes ago. Amon takes away Korra's bending. Iroh has a cool fight with all the ships. Again, wasted potential. Asami fights her dad, and that's that. Mako is about to get his bending taken away, but all of a sudden, through the power of love, Korra can airbend.
What?
Impossible.
That's what I'm saying. Even with Amon's bloodbending, Korra breaks out of the grip and airbends him into the water, which exposes him to be Noatuk, and the scars on his face was just makeup in front of the Equalist. So you're telling me that Amon applied makeup on his own face should there be a time when someone asks,
Wanna know how I got these scars?
but then covers his face with a badass mask?
そうか。
But that moment in which Tarlok and Noatuk talk about the future, Amon sheds a tear, and Tarlok blows up the boat is just a powerful moment that I can't believe it happened on a Nickelodeon show. Now, in terms of the ending, I'm aware that Nickelodeon originally thought that this was going to be a miniseries, so no other seasons afterwards. But let's take that knowledge out for a second. Korra's main worry throughout the story was Amon taking her bending away. Once Amon took her bending away, except for airbending, still dumb, she is rewarded by Aang, not only to get all of her bending back, but even going into the Avatar state for the first time. And she gives bending back to everyone who lost their bending by Amon. After Aang goes to Guru Patik, and he refuses to let go of his feelings for Katara, and the Guru says that without opening the last chakra, he cannot go into the Avatar state. Once Aang tries to enter the Avatar state, he is shocked by Azula and almost died. Aang gets punished for being quote-unquote selfish. But Korra is rewarded in the end, even though she was selfish throughout the season. Let's say, in this hypothetical situation, that if Book 2 Spirits was going to come out, maybe have Korra go on a spiritual journey, maybe find a guru of her own, and have he or she train her in learning control and meditation to find her way to the spirit world, so that she can 1. Humble herself, and 2. So she can reach Aang or her other avatar spirits so that she could get her bending back. Let me know down in the comments what you think about that storyline for Book 2. My thing about Book 1 is that there are some really good ideas presented in the season, but I thought some of the execution could have been done better. I know people have an issue about people doing rewrites of different mediums, but one day I would like to try that for The Legend of Korra, just for fun. I'll just say that get ready for Book 2, because...
Oh boy, yeah.
I'm gonna need help with that. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.